Hey, English 101, welcome to week 3. This is your week 3 overview, so let's get started. So, as is week 3, we are going to move on to our essay 2, E2 assignment, which is a group assignment. So, the very first thing that I suggest you do is to look in our, of course, announcement section of Brightspace. You'll see your group assignment and a link to your Google Doc. Just wanted you to know those are there so that you know where they are. Additionally, as always, you'll want to go to our online Google Space, right? Okay, so let me figure out why I got the wrong thing pulled up. Okay, there we go. Our online Google Classroom. So you know where your group assignments are. I suggest you look at that. And then I would, of course, look at the calendar. You should do this every week just so that you have an overview of what's going on. So again, the very first thing at the top is always going to be our current week. It simply tells you this week we're moving on to E2. You've been assigned groups. You have a group document. It's available to you in your announcements page. And these are the things that you should be watching, reading, or working on. So we have 2 videos this week, along with getting started, and of course, our weekly discussion board. While we're here, I'll also say you might want to just remind yourself that we have our weekly materials where you can find links to all the things that you need all in one place. There's a link to this here on our calendar. There's a link to it also in each of the bottom of your discussion boards. So whichever way is easier for you to get there, come here. While we're here, you'll see that under week 3, the very first 2 links that you have are to technology assistance here at SWIC and the Success Center here at SWIC. So yesterday, your E1 assignments were due, and the vast majority of people were able to get them uploaded appropriately in Brightspace as a PDF. Awesome, great job. There were, however, a few people that couldn't quite figure out the technology, even after watching the video that I sent you, as well as, I assume, working through your own apparatuses and your own tech support for the devices that you use. If you were unable to submit for E1, this one time, once, I am giving you an extension. So if you were not able to submit it yesterday, you have until Wednesday, that's a whole nother 48 hours, at 11:59 p.m. to submit that particular assignment. But let me be clear, as students, you're responsible for your own technology, particularly as online students, because this is the format in which you chose to take this class. So if you are unable to figure out, even after watching my video and going through whatever you Googled or looked at on your own, how to submit it, then you need to click one of these links and either go into SWIC Technology Assistance, take your device with you so they can show you how to use it, or go into one of the success centers where somebody can do the same thing. They have vast amount of hours available to them. And yes, I know you're online students and maybe you don't want to actually come on campus. But if you're unable to submit the work that I need to be able to evaluate, then you need to come in and do that. So again, if you were unable to submit E1, I'm giving you a 2-day extension because I know the first 2 weeks were a little rough with all of the ice and the out days and the internet outages and things of that nature. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to take advantage of that, but also that as adult learners, as responsible online students, you understand that the use of technology is your responsibility. All right, so with that said, you'll also see the links to your videos there. So let's just take a second to look at your group assignment and those Google Docs. And I'm just clicking on one of these. I know it's not yours, but they are all the same for the most part. So you'll see when you get into your group Google Doc, each group has one. I'm giving you these to be able to collaborate and work together. I own the document, so I can see everything that's done here. I can also recover things if something happens that gets deleted and you all didn't intend it. So it says here that everyone has editor's rights. That means you can add things, type things in, save things here, talk to each other here, all of those things. I just ask that each member of your group tell me your name and what color that you'll be using, so that as you're typing and writing and adding things, both I and your group members have an idea of who is doing that. So this week, what I really want you to do is to start talking to each other. So in this section that says notes, right? Down here at the bottom, this is the part that I'm not grading. This is just for you all to be able to share and communicate. I suggest everyone start there by putting in their name and their color, reading the assignment, and then making a suggestion for how you all might get started so that you all can begin having some conversations. Also, most of my groups choose to communicate with each other in some way other than just this Google Doc. This is all that I'm giving you, right? You also have the ability to email each other via Brightspace. Most groups, however, find something else that works for them. So if you want to create some type of text message group, if you want to Snapchat each other, if you want to use one of the 25,000 other formats that are out there, that's completely up to your group. But you will need to have, come to some type of consensus about how you are going to communicate. And at minimum, everybody has to post in this doc this week. So I know that you can access it and you can talk to your group members. With that said, let's look at the assignment itself so that we kind of, have an idea of what we are working with, right? So I'm going back to my Google Class space, assignments and examples, and I'm going right to our position paper assignment. I know y'all know how to get here because it's the same document from last time, because the assignment is basically changed, is basically the same. The only thing that changes is those topic categories at the side. So just like last time, you're going to write two papers, a yes and a no. Just like last time, you have to identify a community, except this time the community that you're identifying, everyone in your team has to be a member of. So you want to think broadly, like, do you all live in the same geographic location? Do you all have a similar interest? Do you all fit in some type of demographic category? If nothing else, you are all college students, right? So there's things to work with. From there, once as a group you've identified your community, you'll then do the same thing we did last time. Pick one positive or negative issue within that community, formulate it in a yes or no question, and divide up the work of writing both of those position papers. Every group member is responsible for writing part of the paper. Every group member is responsible for revising and editing parts of the paper. But your jobs list that you do in your proposal is kind of up to you. I suggest you think about, what are your individual strengths and weaknesses, and talk about that amongst yourself. Last, there are two other things we're adding to this assignment. One is that each of the position papers, the yes and the no, must contain at least one embedded image. That image should be support. It should be something that adds to your reader's understanding of the topic or the issue. Now, whether it's informational in an image, like an infographic or a chart, or it's visual, like something that really helps me to emotionally connect to the topic, anything is okay, right? So long as your group has a good idea of why you are including it in terms of that image. And then this week, we're going to work with rhetorical appeals, ethos, pathos, and logos. So make sure you watch the video, and we'll talk about next week and the week after how we use those things to include support in our compositions. So those are our assignments for this week. The last thing I'll just remind you is each week you have a discussion board, right? There's always a video and a post. The discussion board is available to you now. The post is due on Monday. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just go ahead and send me an email. Happy writing.